Pearls, an independent bookstore just off the downtown square in Fayetteville, Arkansas, is the scene of some of my favorite literary memories from the past few years. In this episode, I had the honor of speaking to Hallee, who earned her BA in creative writing with a minor in history from the University of Arkansas and currently serves as operations manager at Pearls, and Julia, who holds an MFA in creative writing from the University of Arkansas, is the creator of Bee Balm Arkansas and serves as the events and social media manager at Pearls. Tell me how each of you started your journey to Pearls Books. How did you get involved and what drew you to this space?
I used to work in like corporate retail, and I really wanted to get out of that space and get into something a little more like just smaller, like a smaller business, just some place that felt like I was doing something actually good versus just trying to make money. So that's kind of what drew me here. My roommate and my best friend actually works at the daycare so she knew the owners. So she told me, she was like, "Hey, I know someone who's starting up a bookstore. You should email them." And I definitely played the like, "Hey, you know my roommate" card whenever I emailed. But yeah, that's how I came to Pearls.
I came to Pearls while I was working a corporate job too. I got my MFA in poetry and creative writing, and I wanted to get back into teaching. So Pearls was the space that would host me to teach a workshop. So Pearls hosted me for a 10-week workshop. And then after that, I started working here. But that's kind of how I got to know the owners, Daniel and Leah.
Can you tell me more about like what your actual individual roles are in the bookstore?
I'm the operations manager, so I kind of do day-to-day stuff and more behind the scenes stuff like ordering and dealing with reps from the different publishers, um, returns, and then just, miscellaneous things that need to get done on a daily or weekly basis, like schedule or um, fixing the shelves or whatever might need to be done.
I manage events and social media. So that means I communicate with local authors. I help set up events. We plan for like, where's the sound system going to be and when, kind of like store setup for events. And then also announcing new releases every week. Every Tuesday, we just get a slew of new releases in. So making sure that folks know what's on the shelves and what we're excited about too.
Cool. I'm curious to know how it's evolved since you started working there.
It's evolved a lot. I've been here since the very beginning, kind of helped do like setup before we were even open. So we definitely now know, well, not entirely know what we're doing, but we definitely know not a lot more than we did whenever we were just getting started. But we've grown quite a bit. Like our staff has grown from like 3 people to like 10, which is really good that our needs have grown that much too. Like the business has done really well, and we've reached out to a lot of different people. The community itself has grown a lot. We started off with 1 book club, and now we have like 5, which is really awesome. So yeah, it's cool to see the way that it's grown.
Yeah, I came on about a year into the bookstore being open. So I've kind of gotten to see a lot of things with events change, where we have like a more streamlined event system. We center more on local authors. Our staff member, Dorinda, runs a writer's night twice monthly now. So we have like a more connected space between book clubs and writers' nights, and then authors coming through town to read. So everything is a lot more integrated. I think too, we don't keep the same books on the shelves all the time. So as I've been here, we've learned more about what our community reads, what they want to read, and how to like best meet the needs of our literary community. And also, like as times change, what people need to know.
So this season is all about collaboration. Could you talk a bit about what collaboration looks like to you guys on a day-to-day basis?
On a day-to-day basis, Julia and I work together pretty frequently during the weekdays. So we usually start the morning with like, what do you need today? Do you need to be, in the office, just kind of like laser focused on whatever you're doing, or do you need to be in the front? We also really care about each other's emotional needs too. So that's always nice to have somebody that you can be honest with about how you're feeling. But yeah, and then on a more specific side, since Julia does the events and then I do the ordering, she'll communicate with me on when and what books need to be ordered and how many, and just various things feedback that she gets from social media, like, oh, this customer sent us a DM saying that we should carry this book, or, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the pleasures of like working together is that we get to take care of the store together and take care of like literacy and like Fayetteville, like in our community. And like we're friends. So we get to like really enjoy each other's company as we do that good work.
What's your favorite part of working at Pearls? And maybe what's your least favorite as well?
Ooh. Okay, my favorite is just the community that has been built by this store, whether it be like in book clubs or with my coworkers or just customers that are regulars and I know their faces when they come in. And then my least favorite, and this maybe sounds like a cop out answer, but it's true, is every time I'm here, all I want to do is read and I never have time to. So it sucks being in a place where it's like, yay, books and reading, but I don't have time to read. I can't read.
I think my favorite part personally is the reading community that the staff has, where every day it's like, oh, what are you reading now? And then we're like, okay, I'm reading these three books. This one was good. This one was meh. This one is really throwing me for a loop. So I think there's like a lot of conversations about what we're reading, and we're always challenging each other to read more broadly and more deeply. And that's really wonderful. Um, Also, I think the work on like a day-to-day basis is really fun. I get to check in books on weekdays, so I get to see like, oh, like this new one is in. Like you really get a sense for what's being published, what people like to read, what's coming out, yeah, like just like what's on the horizon for readers, and that's really exciting. I think my least favorite thing is probably shelf reading, which is just making sure all the books are in order. That I think is my least favorite part.
See, that's why collaboration is good because I love to shelf read. It's perfect.
So you guys both mentioned community, which is great. How do you view Pearls as a creative or artistic community space beyond just being a bookstore?
Mhm.
Yeah, I can. So I think one of the really special things that Pearls provides is we have a lot of book clubs that meet independently in this space. And it's really, I think one of the cool things is that one of the cool things about a bookstore is we're not saying like you have to read this kind of book in order to come read with us. We are able to invite like a lot of different kinds of readers to come and participate in this space. So we have a romance book club coming up this week. Um, and that brings in a bunch of different readers than the sci-fi fantasy book club. I think it just gives people from across the community an opportunity to connect with each other in a different way. Like I don't think the folks who attend those book clubs or attend these events would necessarily see each other elsewhere.
Yeah, something that I think is cool too is allowing for the community itself to be creative, because the longer that we've been around, the more people come up to us and say, like our romance book club, for example, got started because a couple of community members said, "Hey, we really want to do this. Can you guys just host and we'll basically do the hard part of hosting the book club?" And um, that's really exciting to be able to collaborate with the community like that, and seeing the way like different community leaders leading the different book clubs, the way that they do it and the way that they engage is always really fun, because they all have fun little things that they do that are just like, I would have never thought to do that. So it's cool to have a place where we can kind of collaborate with customers like that.
On a related note, bookstores are often referred to as third spaces. How does Pearls live up to that idea in 2025 America? And what does that mean to each of you personally?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like the whole idea of third spaces is about having a place to build community. And I think we do that through reading groups and writing groups. Feels like there's like something for everybody here, because we have so many different book clubs now where people can find the niche that they're interested in and connect with people. I've seen like friendships bloom at book clubs, which is really sweet. And then like the writers group, like people who writing is a very individual activity, and then getting to connect with other people who feel the same way that you're feeling. If you're feeling frustrated about your writing or excited about it, just getting to share that with people. So it's really cool to see um, all of these different people come together.
Yeah, I think third third spaces are becoming more and more scarce, and I think one of the reasons I was able to hold a workshop at Pearls in the first place before I started working here was because Pearls wasn't going to charge me to use this space. Um, I think Daniel and Leah have been really generous with like me personally, and also our community in general, in the way that they offer space for readings and book clubs and writing groups. We also host like bakery pop-ups here on weekends, so other small businesses that don't have a storefront can come and be in this space and sell their goods. Or like the OLC, the Ozark Literacy Center, did a pop-up a few weeks ago to get volunteers, and they're going to do another one in a few weeks. And we also have a bunch of librarians, or a bunch of writers who are going to write postcards against book bans, who are going to gather in the store. So there are like a lot of opportunities for people just to use the space and not have to worry about paying.
Could you talk a bit about how you go about selecting which events you choose to prioritize hosting?
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of it has to do with local interest. Like, what do people want to hear about? What do they want to read about? And then, are we representing local authors? We really prioritize people who are from the region. We have a whole like Arkansas, Oklahoma section in the store for books. And then also, I think it's about people who ask. Like, if someone sends a request and is like, "Hi, I'm a local author and I would like to do a reading, or I would like to do a book signing. I'm willing to be partnered with another author." That makes it really easy to say yes to. Like, we want to say yes to people. And I think, yeah, people should ask. People should ask their local bookstores, or if they're a writer going on tour, and they want to garner a um, new audience members, local bookstores are like a great place to ask for space.
What are the freedoms and challenges of doing this kind of creative cultural work outside of large institutions or traditional art systems?
I think one of the good things is that we don't have any strict rules to follow, because we're not operating under like some corporate conglomerate that's telling us, well, you can only do this, or you have to do this, or you have to make this amount of profit, or blah 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 blah. we can kind of we have the freedom to just do whatever sounds interesting to us and or our community. And I think one of the challenges on the opposite, or on like a similar vein is funding. We are still a business, so we do still have to worry about making money, as much as like money sucks, but it is a reality that we do live in. So that is a challenge, but not like one that is like super discouraging or that really stops us from doing many things that we want to do. Because if we want to do it, we will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think going off of what you said, we also have the opportunity to try something out and see if it works. And then if we're like, oh, that was great, let's do that again. And then if it doesn't, it's like, oh, okay, maybe not that then. But there's like a lot of room to like try new events or like kind of connect with partners in a different way.
You've both kind of spoken to this already, but it was a question that I skipped that I feel like we could explore a little more. How do you navigate or resist the pressure to conform to more professionalized or institutionally legible models?
I think we've talked about this together. Sometimes when we're not in this space, we'll be out in the world and someone will be like, oh, what do you do? Oh, you work in a bookstore. Cool, cool. I think there's,
I think with us, like, I feel like there is a level of, and not with us in particular, just like small businesses in general, that there's a level of authenticity that larger institutions don't have because they are so corporatized and focused on money a lot of times. But I think with like a local business, you're dealing with people who are in the community, directly involved with their community, and you're supporting your community. And I think that it's like this circle of support that a lot of people feel. So I think, yeah, just having that, just following your gut and your instinct and what the community needs and wants just leads to this, level of authenticity that just kind of comes naturally, I think.
I think it matters too who you're trying to please.
Mm-hmm.
I think like in academia, you're definitely trying to please a particular group of people. But I think there's a lot less snootiness maybe when you're outside of that space because you're creating for people who are not academics. And I think that kind of levels the playing field. Yeah.
And this is a question for both of you. What kinds of unexpected encounters or relationships have emerged at Pearls that speak to its role beyond commerce?
I said earlier that I've seen like friendships bloom at Pearls. I know that there are a couple of customers that met at book club and they just like went on a little vacation together, which is really sweet. I have personally like had many friendships form because of Pearls, which is nice. It's very different from like other retail jobs that I've had where there's a clear and definitive line between seller and customer, because at like all of those corporate retail jobs, the bottom line is just money. So they see customers as money, whereas we don't do that here. And I think that that's really special.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we've gotten to do together, we're all walking in the Pride Parade next week, 2 weeks from now. And that's something that we've gotten to do every year, and that feels really special. I think like as a staff, we're advocating for each other and for our community. We're talking about our families and what's going on in our families, and we're doing that with customers too. I think like we have like a lot of really beautiful conversations and ways of connecting with each other here. I think Pearls is a hub for people to be themselves and also to find books that will help them learn and grow.
specifically for Julia, I love how your social media really speaks to like your storytelling background and your like creative writing skills. Could you speak a bit on how you balance authenticity with the demands of digital visibility?
Thank you. Yeah, I think the way that Leah is the one who really set up the brand guidelines at the beginning. And I think in social media, what we really try to focus on is showing people's faces and really connecting readers with like things that they could be interested. Like I think as a staff, like Haley, Daniel, and Leah have hired to make sure that we have a bunch of people who read really differently from one another. So I put a lot of faces in the feed, and I highlight like a lot of different interests that way. Yeah, I think so much of it is about making reading accessible to everyone and showing that like reading any genre is like a good place to start. We're not trying to be elitists about reading here.
Mm-hmm. And Haley, operations can often be overlooked. I didn't even know that was a position, but it's foundational, of course. How do you think of operations as part of the creative or cultural ecosystem?
Yeah, like you said, it is very foundational. So, like, all of the day-to-day stuff has to get done so the other fun things can also happen. I think about it like as long as I've been here at Pearls, I've seen it kind of through all of its phases. So when we first started, it was like, okay, well, we don't have time for newsletters or book clubs or anything because we just have to get our feet underneath us and see what we're doing and figure out what we're doing. And then once we did that and laid that foundation, it's like, okay, now the next thing is reaching out to the community a little bit more, starting our newsletter, starting our first book club. For a while, we only had the one. And then now it's grown even more where we have multiple book clubs, multiple writing groups. Yeah, so it's very important to have all of the day-to-day stuff done so that way all of you can be a little bit more creative with other things. So
Are there systems or practices you've developed that feel like a form of art or activism in themselves?
yeah, just the act of ordering books. I definitely feel like choosing what books to carry or not to carry definitely I feel like I'm doing like, we're all doing good work, like selling um books that are being banned and making sure that we're stocked up on books written by POC authors and LGBTQ authors, and women, and just books that they don't want you to read. Reading is political in and of itself, and I think also the stuff that we choose to carry and choose to push and encourage people to not like push, like be very pushy. People can read whatever they want, but the books that our staff really encourages people to read, it's like branch out a little bit.
Mhm.
So yeah.
How do you see your own creative or professional growth connected to Pearls?
I teach a creative writing workshop in our community called Bee Balm Arkansas, and I have benefited so deeply from Pearl's support in a regular way. I teach workshops in the Pearl space regularly. I borrow the sound equipment every time I do a reading, which is a big deal because I don't have thousands of dollars to buy my own sound equipment. So I think Daniel and Leah, who own the bookstore, have been huge supporters of my own creative work in a really big way, in a way where I think doing my own creative writing work would be really hard without their support.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I started part-time here, and I remember whenever I went full-time, Leah had said to me, "You're still going to have time to write, right? Like, I want to make sure that we are giving you plenty of time to do your writing." And I just thought that that was really special that Daniel and Leah clearly value us and value the things that are important to us. It's also fun working with a lot of us. I would say most of us, I think I can confidently say that, are writers. So it's not like uncommon to get a text that's like, "Hey, I'm running a bit late today. My writing was really flowing and I just had a hard time getting around." So it's really nice to work in a place that really values that creativity. And then we all talk about our writing with each other a lot and are like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, well send me pages, like I'll look at that for you, or whatever needs to be done. So it's really, yeah, it just like is very creatively fulfilling to be around people that value creativity.
That sounds so cool. Just logistically speaking, how do you both balance your creative writing practice alongside your work at Pearls?
Mm. For me, routine is the biggest thing. I try to write in the mornings because I can't write in the evenings when I get off work because I'm too tired. So I have to like really try to make a point to do it in the morning and not beat myself up if I don't get a lot of it done because it's like, okay, well, yeah, you had to eat breakfast. So, it's fine that you only had 30 minutes to write or whatever. So yeah, for me, it's that routine.
Yeah, I think for me, I will often write in the afternoons or evenings after I get out of work, but sometimes too, I'll just be like, Haley, I need to take off a week or a weekend because I have to go do some writing. And Haley will be like, great, let's clear that off for you. So it's really easy to take time off to write, which is a gift.
Mhm.
What's one book that feels foundational to the way you think about community or creative work?
For me, it's Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara. He owns a restaurant, like it's a book about it's really about the restaurant business because that's what the business that he works in, but it's also mostly about just connecting with people on a deeper level. The book is completely talks about not viewing people as customers, but trying to go above and beyond to make people feel seen and heard and appreciated. Because that goes so far with people just feeling like they're not just another number. Um, and we read that book, me and Daniel and Leah and our coworker Dorinda read it together and had a little mini book club to just talk about different things that we could do that can just different like little things that we can do that can just make people's experience at Pearls really positive. And that really changed the way I looked at the business because like I said, I came from like a corporate retail background where it was very much not, well, how can you go above and beyond for customers? It was like, how can you sell more things to customers? And it's like, okay, well, these are people, these are human beings who, but yeah, that was a great book.
I think I have two books. One is Rest is Resistance by Tricia Hersey, and then the other is What It Takes to Heal by Prentice Hemphill. And I think both of those books are about accessing knowledge that goes beyond your head and moves into your body. And I think that's um, really important when we're thinking about modes of knowing. We're not just trying to exist all in our heads. We're not just trying to like read about what else is possible. We're trying to access what's happening in our bodies and move into the future together.
All three of those sound great. I'm excited to check them out. On a similar note, what advice would you give to someone looking to build something similarly collaborative and artistically grounded outside of institutions?
I think my advice would be start with community need. Like be in your community, understand what your community needs, and like be like who are your people, get to know them, and then build whatever you're looking to build out of that. Because if you come at it just being like, oh, I think this would be good, and then you don't actually move out of need or interest, I think you're gonna fall flat.
Yeah, in a similar vein, I would say don't be afraid to collaborate with your community and ask for community input. I feel like there is this expectation that you have to have it all figured out and you have to be really put together whenever you present yourself or whatever it is you're doing to the world. But I don't think that that's true. I think that's something that we've learned is um, just as we've gone along and talking to other bookstore owners and booksellers is oftentimes they'll be like, hey, what kind of events do you guys want us to do, or like with our like little things with our book club, we're like, okay, well, what do y'all want to read next versus us picking it, which is what we did to begin with. So yeah.
What are your dreams or visions for Pearls in the next few years?
I just would like to see Pearls continue to grow. I think like what we have already established is a very good foundation, and I just would like to see it taken a little bit further, maybe more. Yeah.
Yeah, I want us to keep keep putting books on the shelves that enhance the lives of readers, that expose them to new perspectives and deepen their experience of being human, and that ultimately inform the way that they're good to each other and like their everyday lives.
Can you give our viewers a writing prompt?
Yes, I have one. Okay. And I did see this one online ages ago, but I still think it's fun. Go to your favorite book, open up to a random page, find a random line, and then build something off of that line.
I have one too. I think in my own writing practice and in the way that I teach, I'm a big fan of the imitation poem. I think reading deeply can really benefit a writer. So my writing prompt would be look at a favorite author that you have, and examine one of the elements that they have in their work. Try to imitate it. Don't try to deviate from it. Try to imitate it in your own way, and then see what comes up for you. Practice seeing if you can try out that element, and then see what that develops in your own writing practice.
Those are both really great. I'm excited to share them. Was there anything I didn't get around to or that like you prepared for that you want to bring up?
I don't think so.
These were really thoughtful questions, Eva. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I'm so excited to feature you and always happy to support Pearls. So
Yes, thank you.
Eva, thank you. Like, thanks. Yeah, thank you for your support. Thanks for the thoughtful questions and for doing this.
yeah, of course. All right. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.